Karen opened my barn without asking. She didn't know the bulls were in heat. People always say karma takes its time, but sometimes it comes barreling at you on four hooves, snorting fire and fury. My name is Clayton Burke, fifth-generation rancher. I grew up on this land before there were asphalt roads, before cookie-cutter houses started popping up like mold in a damp shed. I don't wear a tie. I don't have a TikTok, but I do raise some of the finest Angus cattle in Jefferson County. And I don't take kindly to people messing with what they don't understand. 3 years ago, a development called Meadowridge Pines swallowed up the southern edge of our property, the kind of neighborhood where every mailbox has a monogram and the residents complain when your rooster crows before 7 a.m. They brought their rules, their manicured lawns, and their self-righteous HOA. Leading the pack was Karen Templeton, blonde bob pastel blouse SUV that looked too clean to ever carry groceries. She introduced herself on day one as chairwoman of the Community Enforcement Committee. She said it like she was announcing a royal title. "I hope we can find peaceful coexistence," she said, smiling like a snake. "But please keep your animals off HOA property." She meant my bulls. Now my land is clearly fenced, clearly posted and grandfathered in since 1894. But that didn't stop her little patrol from snooping around, snapping photos of feed bins, measuring fence lines, with laser levels reporting imaginary violations to the county. Things came to a head one Saturday morning. I was out back fixing irrigation lines. My teenage daughter Ellie came running from the front. "Dad, the gate's open. The bulls are gone." My heart dropped. It was mating season, which meant my two prize bulls, Rocco and Samson, were hyped hormonal and ready to fight anything that moved. I dropped my wrench and sprinted toward the barn. The front paddock gate was wide open, not unlatched forced. One hinge was bent clear off like someone had kicked it. Tire marks cut across the gravel path leading back toward the neighborhood. What the hell? I jumped in my truck and followed the tracks. What I saw 2 blocks into Meadowridge Pines will stick with me forever. Rocco and Samson, eyes wild and heads low, were charging through manicured lawns, tossing patio furniture like matchsticks. One of the HOA patrol trucks, an old white Tacoma with magnetic stickers reading Community Order Unit, sat sideways across the sidewalk. Its back bumper was dented inward and standing frozen like she'd just seen her life flash before her eyes. Was Karen, clipboard clutched to her chest, mouth slightly open, shoes muddy. She had clearly opened the gate. Later I'd find out she claimed it was community access to investigate barn-related odor violations. She called it routine inspection. "Routine my ass," Rocco bellowed and swung his head toward a garden gnome. It exploded into ceramic shards. A group of HOA volunteers scattered like pigeons running for their lives. I slid to a stop, leapt from the truck, and let out a sharp whistle. Both bulls turned. They recognized the call. They trotted toward me, still puffing steam from their noses, still wild-eyed but obedient. I led them back to the trailer, one in each rope hand, shaking with adrenaline. Karen didn't say a word, but the cameras did. Half the neighborhood filmed the chaos. Within hours, the videos were online titled HOA Patrol Freeze, Ranch Bulls Spark Stampede. It hit the local news by sundown, and then the consequences came. First came the sheriff. He confirmed what I already knew: Karen and her community enforcement unit had no legal authority to enter private ranch property, no permit, no cause, and certainly no jurisdiction to open livestock enclosures. Then came the lawsuits I filed for property damage. The neighbor whose fence got destroyed filed for reckless endangerment. A jogger nearly trampled filed for trauma. But the real wreckage wasn't legal, it was social. Karen had ruled Meadowridge Pines like a queen behind HOA bylaws. But after that day, her crown shattered. More residents came forward. She'd fined a woman for wind chimes too loud, threatened to report a teen for looking like a vape dealer because he wore a hoodie. She had forged citations, kept HOA money in a personal account, and most damning, had no formal authority. The HOA board had dissolved months ago, but she'd kept up the act. People were furious. At the next emergency town meeting, 200 residents showed up. Most demanded her removal. Some demanded jail time. Karen tried to defend herself, saying she was doing what the HOA failed to do. My daughter Ellie stood up that night and said, "You opened a bull gate. You could have killed someone. This wasn't safety, it was arrogance." The room erupted in applause. Karen resigned from her fake position that night. She sold her house 3 months later and moved out. And me, I reinforced the barn gate with steel. Welded it myself. On the outside, I installed a sign that reads, "Private property bulls in season enter, at your own risk or Karen's." I don't have much faith in HOAs anymore, but I have faith in consequences. Because sometimes karma doesn't knock. Sometimes it charges, and if you're unlucky, it has horns. The end.